Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have an anonymous female left behind and forward-moving spouse with a bomb drop of October 27th, 2021, and a date of marriage of 2001. She's not familiar with contact types and she has a low-energy wallower. She says, I've done all kinds of things to save our couple. And I'm relationship therapy, travel, dropping some discussions, etc. When I ask him, what have you done to save our couple? His answer is, I have been very patient with you. Very humiliating. In June of 2023, he moved into an apartment here shortly. We have 2 adult children. He wanted to have peace. I don't think anyone else was involved. He has since had a relationship with a woman, but that didn't last long. It was to fill his loneliness. Those are his own words. I broke contact for 6 months to protect myself from his lies and strange actions, so not about energy level. I am polite when I see him and rarely send a message for the kids. He wants to be friends, but I cannot do this. For this, I still see him way too much. Am I doing the right thing to distance myself? Is this not breaking all of my chances to maybe one day build something back together? I hope one day he will wake up and realize what he has broken. Should I stop hoping? So first, I'm going to go back to when you said in June of 2023, he moved into an apartment here shortly. That can be taken 2 very opposite ways. Did he move out of the house in June of 2023 and get an apartment? So is that when he actually left the home? Or had he already left the home and he was moving back to the geographical region and got an apartment in your area in June of 2023? So he moved back, whether to be near you or near you for other reasons. Because those are different. One, he had stayed at the home for 18 months or whatever. One, he'd moved out at some point. And so that sets up a completely different type of situation. And I can't tell which. Usually from that phrasing, I would think he moved back to the area. He had already left the house. But because of all of the things you were doing to save it and him being very patient with you, I am confused thinking it could be the other. So that's where I'm not sure of what's going on in that piece. So he has been patient with you. So I want to talk about his viewpoint for a little bit. Let's look at why he says that and how he has been patient with you, what he's feeling about it. You have done all kinds of things to save your relationship. And he's been patient. He's allowed you to do that. But standing isn't about saving your relationship. Standing is about preserving for later saving, yes. But when you're trying to save a relationship, you are working on the relationship, you're working on the us, you're working on that other person often that is trying to change, trying to fix, something is wrong with you and I need to save us. And you're trying to get somebody who is resistant to it to do your will. You're trying to bend them to your will. And he's been patient. But he got tired of it. He got tired of that because he didn't feel you were really hearing him or listening to what he was saying. And you were focused so much on saving it that you weren't concerned with him as the individual. You were concerned with him as the role of husband, the role of father, spouse, the us, rather than who he is as a person. And he was patient. He knew you had to go through this work. He knew you had to try these things. And he let you do it. But he got tired of it because he's, okay, we'll go to counseling. I'll have my say, maybe. I don't know what he said in there. And it didn't work. You didn't listen to him, perhaps. I'm making guesses here. But from his position, his point of view. And he was patient. He went on travels with you. You dropped discussions. Those are all things that we recommend against. Marriage counseling, if it's midlife crisis, is known to not work. Now, I don't say don't go because of that. I think it's great to try because maybe it's not a midlife crisis and maybe it will have a work. Maybe it's great to go because you'll find a therapist for yourself. It's great to go because you can see that it doesn't work and you learn that. And maybe you did. But if you were doing it like, I did all these things, they didn't work. Well, yeah, it's a midlife crisis. And so what this you're saying to me is you weren't accepting the process of a midlife crisis, or you weren't listening. Let's say it's not a midlife crisis. You weren't listening to him. You weren't listening to what he's saying. You weren't taking into account his needs, his words, his concerns, his unhappinesses. He wanted to have peace, and he felt to get that he had to go. And it wasn't about another person. There isn't a limerent object. It makes sense then but he was lonely, and so he found someone else. You haven't even described that as he committed adultery with a horrible person. You do say you broke contract to protect yourself from his lies and strange actions, but I have no idea what those are, because the only clue about them is you define lies and strange actions. And so I don't know if they are strange to me or only to you. I don't know what kind of lies they are. I don't know if they're rewriting of history. And I don't know if they're partially due to your rewriting and not understanding as well. So I'm glad you're polite when you see him. He wants to be friends. And then you say, but I cannot do this. Now, there are some where I say, yeah, that's a good thing to not be friends. Or I have said, I won't be friends outside of a marital context. Is that the right situation for your situation? I don't think so, given what you've said. Why can you not do this? You've said, I can't do this. I'm thinking maybe you can't do this because of your own anxiety. Maybe it drags you down. You get too upset. And that makes sense. You can't do this. You need to get yourself to a place of being healed so that you can be friends, so that you can rebuild a friendship. And friendships can progress toward intimate relationships. And marriages should be friends. We need to be friends with our spouses. And so it's important. But if you're not able to do that now because of an attachment, because you're not detached in that emotional way that you need to be, then I understand that you can't do this, but it is something you need to heal yourself so that you can get to a place where you can do that. Because you are right. Is this not breaking all my chances to maybe one day build something back together? Yes, it is. If you don't ever communicate, how do you ever get back together? You don't. That sort of thing. That is a dilemma. And so this is why standing is about self-focus. It is about making yourself the priority and healing yourself. Because we do not make a healthy marriage out of two incomplete, unhealthy partners. We don't say, here's half a person, here's half a person, and we complete each other. I know that they make that into this beautiful thing. Why are you together? Oh, he completes me. But that's not how to make a healthy marriage. A healthy marriage is made of two healthy and complete, strong partners. And I don't know about him, but you're not one. From the way you're describing this, you're not one. And you have to get yourself healed. And it could be for other reasons. It could be due to what he has done to you and the breakup. And it could be all of those. But you need to heal yourself, get strong and detached so that you can come back into a friendship. Because you then say, I hope one day he will wake up and realize what he has broken. And then should you stop hoping? So let's first talk about hope, and then we'll talk about that previous statement. Should you stop hoping? Hope is not what you need to be working on right now. Hope is keeping you stuck. Hope is not a bad or a good thing, because it could be either of those. Hope was in the box with disease and pestilence, all sorts of bad things. Did they stick one good thing in that box, or was it one of the bad things? And it got left there. And maybe it's the worst of all, because it keeps us stuck. hoping against hoping against hoping on something that maybe isn't going to happen. And so in that sense, hope is not a benefit. But then, what if hope lifts you up? What if hope motivates you to put verbs in your sentences, to put verbs in your muscles, and get active and do something about it? Well, then it has a benefit. So hope is good. So what I want you to do with hope is you use that little tiny flame. It floats you up enough that you're at rock bottom. You're at depression. You use it to get just enough up so that you're motivated, to get enough energy, to put those verbs in your muscles and do something. And then you take the hope and you put it in a box. That's the hope for your marriage. That's the marriage. Because we don't save our marriage as standards. We preserve it. You put your marriage in a box. And you put it on the shelf where you're not going to damage it. So it's not that you stop hoping. I don't want you focusing on hope. I don't want you using it. Get it out of your vocabulary right now, because you're misusing it if that's what you're doing right now. And I'm not saying that to everybody that is out there listening on how they're using it. I'm saying that based on how you have asked the questions and what you've told me. It's not about stopping hope. It's about just saying, I'm not going to think like that, because you're banking on hope instead of doing the work yourself. It's kind of like, well, I asked God to save me and then they didn't, and God didn't answer that prayer. Well, sometimes God answers your prayers by giving you the means to save yourself. And that is the answer. It's not a passive thing. Let's move forward to, I hope one day he will wake up and realize what he's broken. Okay. What does he feel about that? What would he say if he were reading that and he says, you want him to realize what he broke? He was patient, remember? He said it. And was he really patient? He allowed these relationship therapies, traveling, even the dropping of discussions. That sounds like patience to me. And so what he wants is he wants you to realize what you also broke. He wants you to realize that it isn't just him. Where are the apologies that come from you? Where are your amends? Where do you need to make them? What have you done? Why is it all on him? Why does he have to be fixed? Why does he have to be taken to therapy and be told, well, what it is that he did and how he has to do these things and how he was, I don't know, neglectful enough or didn't appreciate you enough? But he was sitting there with you, willing to go. And that might not be a lot, but it was more than some do. And he was patient with it. And it wasn't enough, and it wasn't enough, and it wasn't enough. And you kept trying and trying and trying while not working on yourself. And what happens when we work on ourselves is we put ourselves first, and all of these other things fall into place. And he's looking at you going, she doesn't get it. She doesn't realize that it's two people. And I don't know if it's 90-10 and it's 90% of it is him. But even if it is 90% him, he wants you to recognize your 10. And maybe it's 40-60, maybe it's 50-50. I don't know. But he wants you to know what your part is. And that's the insight. So instead of you hoping that he'll wake up and realize what he's broken, because right now you're focusing, it's all on him. All the things he lost, all the things he gave up. I'm sure we're all thinking those things out there. But he wants you to go, yeah, I woke up and realized I know what I lost, but I also know that I didn't do all of the breaking. And I'm so tired of being blamed for breaking it. And I couldn't take that anymore. Where is your part in it, is what he's saying. Why aren't you recognizing how you just kept telling me it was all about me and how I needed to change and I needed to be fixed? And I was there. I said I was being patient. Where's the respect for him and what he contributed? Where are your apologies? That's what he's waiting for. I don't know if it's a midlife crisis. I know that, yeah, I think you're right about low energy wallower because there was an affair or another person, but it doesn't seem there was a limerence. It seemed just sad. He's sad because he wants there to be an awareness in you. And so what is going to bring you to an awareness? First thing, it's healing. You need to heal. And you need to, go talk to your therapist on your own. But what do I need to do to make amends for myself and for him? Because then he might do it for you as well. Some people are stubborn. And are you both going to be the stubborn ones? I don't know. But he was very patient. I'm going to give him a lot of credit for that. Okay? I'm sorry. But you get yourself healed. You focus on that. Instead of trying to heal him, that's his job. Instead of trying to fix him. Oh, good Lord. Everybody, we all hate other people trying to fix us. Because that is other people saying, you're not good enough. You're wrong. It's all your fault. Nobody likes that, and they are going to resist it every time. Okay? Sorry. I hope this helps. And I will see everybody in the next question.